Hey guys, back for round two. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. Hope you don't mind the little stream break. It makes it easier for me to edit videos later, so that's how it goes. All right, today, or for the second part of today, we have the man, the myth, the legend themselves, Papa FightRise, ImageOmega. Let's bring them on. Hey, Io, can you hear me?
Yo, yo, what it do?
How's it going?
Going all right. How you doing?
Doing okay, doing okay. Finally got around to getting on one of these, huh?
Well, it's at a good time for me. I mean, a decent time,
Yeah,
as
I
opposed
mean,
to like 11 p.m. at night.
yeah, I know it's been hectic trying to find time to stream. So finally got around to it, and I was like, hey, I have time this morning. Why don't I just do that? So, all right, cool,
Yeah, I was
man.
surprised to see you had like an 8 a.m. slot. I was like, whoa, 8 a.m. slot.
Yeah, yeah, waking
I
up
mean, 8 a.m.
early.
your side.
Yeah, and it was
Rise and
funny because it
grind.
worked out because I was able to get some time this morning, so I was like, might as well make the most of it. So
Nice. How'd that go?
that was okay. It was okay. Tall Geese was on, so it was a good session. After I edit it and put it on YouTube, I suppose. So anyway, about you. So tell me what's been going on with your gameplay, game plan. What are you looking to improve on? What do you think you were struggling with? What's going on?
Uh, really, like fundamentals is probably just where I struggle, just trying to make the right decisions. I have huge gaps in matchup knowledge. I don't know if you saw that replay against Ken, but I was just trying to neutral skip everywhere, and I was trying to press on places. I was trying to find a place to press, which I was just wrong every single time.
Okay.
Like especially with Jinrai in general, like I know that there's moments to press to kind of like not have to deal with that pressure,
Hmm.
kind of like dealing with Sagat's Tiger Nexus. It's just like there are gaps to press. I am just not sure what those are.
Okay. It makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, there's definitely like knowledge checky type stuff out there that you just kind of have to lab out, but there may be also some fundamental decisions as well, right? Like in neutral, you could do something else or make a different decision. Okay, cool. So you said you've been playing Ingrid more. Is that going to be kind of the character you're running today, or do you want to run something else, or what are you feeling like?
Yeah, running Ingrid today.
Okay.
Do you want me to hop on this?
Oh yeah, you can.
Okay.
Just one sec
Yeah,
here.
running Ingrid. Plan on running Ingrid until Yasmin comes out.
Okay,
So
fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, cool. So what we'll do is we'll go through a first to three. I'll kind of get a sense of like where you're at, what you might be struggling with, all that stuff. After that, we'll do a little replay review. So we'll take a look at one of the replays that from our set, as well as another replay from what you sent me. So I'll pick one of those. We can take a look at that. After that, if there's anything we want to deep dive into, we'll take a look in the lab. So we'll hop the lab, take a look at that, and see if there's any like specific situations that maybe we need to look at in depth. Then after that, if there's time and you're up for it, we can run it back for another first of three, and then see if anything I talk about helps at all. So looks like you're queued up.
okay.
So I will deafen during this part, so you won't hear me talking, just so I don't impact anything you're doing. The timer may also run down to like 1 or 2 during the rematch, and that's mostly because I'm still talking on stream and articulating thoughts and all that. So when you look at this later, if you decide to, you'll see what I was thinking during the games. So yeah, otherwise, good luck.
So if I see you doing nothing, I should just like wait.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that
just
what you're
wait.
saying?
Yeah, yeah, just wait.
Okay.
Like if there's a lull in the rematch timer and it goes down to like 1 or 2, don't worry about it. Don't, I'm still here. All
Okay.
right.
Also, your rank of master is cracking me up.
The only time I've been playing ranked is on ranked and roasted, so I'm currently like 1590 something, and I'm like, oh, I should play ranked to make that more accurate MR, but I haven't been doing
Right,
that.
right.
So, all right, with
What do you
that,
call a fake master?
yeah, we're all masters here, guys. Don't worry about it. All right, good
No, I'm
luck.
fucking moist tonight.
Yep.
All right, good luck.
All right, Papa FightRise. Waiting for Yasmin like the rest of us are, I suppose. So let's see what's going on with them. I haven't played them in a while, to be honest. I don't really run into Io that often because he's East Coast, so I don't think we get to play that much. So let's see what's going on. Giving up a lot of space. Oh, nice. they had 2. Ah! Oh, that's... Oh, I'm dead! So I'll admit that I haven't actually I haven't played that many Ingrids, because I haven't been playing ranked. So I don't actually know how things work. I'm pretty sure that kick is -2. Oh? Ow. Oh, I missed my anti-air. So I was pretty good here, right? I think like what they're doing is they are just pressing buttons at spacings that make sense. I don't actually know how Ingrid plays, so I'm kind of figuring this out. I went for D-Rev. I think her reversal is like a level 1, right? Yeah, active on defense a little bit too much, I think. Got punished for it a couple of times here. Two stocks. Teleports. Oh, that's safe on block? Oh, I didn't mistime it. There's a follow-up there, isn't there? Oh, I'm dead. I'm pretty sure her throw loop there, if I remember correctly, she has to use Drive Rush or, like, dash up for a +1. On to level 3. Active option again. I'm gonna lose to IO here. He's too good. Part of it, I think, really is that like I don't know the button sequencing, but I also think that IO is doing a really good job of picking options and spaces that makes sense, right? I don't think he doesn't whiff a lot of buttons, right? Oh, that was nice. Oh, he still got the stock? Active option again. Have to walk in here. IO's too good. But yeah, I think like some of what they might be struggling with, they've been beating me obviously, but Ingrid's zoning is always kind of interesting, right? They should be able to beam me here. Oh. But I think the main thing is they're really active on defense, right? Always go for thrower. A little bit greedy. Yeah. So that's the main thing right now is that they tend to reversal. So. Oh, I was looking at the wrong meter. I wonder if Ingrid, the button sequencing, because I don't really see going for the whatchamacallit, the what do I want to say? It's like the spin into the uppercut. Spin an uppercut into stock, right? Ah. A little too much pressure there. Maybe not. But yeah, there's a sequence that Ingrid does where it's like the spin into the uppercut, and she gets a free stock from that. So like with Ingrid in particular, from what I've seen so far, is that she definitely needs 2 stocks to function, right? Like, she's a much better character when she has that second stock, because the sun beam thing is a lot better. Alright. So a little bit active on defense, I think, is the main thing. Neutral-wise, I think they're actually doing fine. I don't actually know Ingrid's frame data at all, so I don't know if that stand heavy kick how plus it is. I think it's like +2 on dry brush, right? So okay. It took me a little bit longer to adjust to what Ingrid does, but I guess I figured it out toward the end there. But again, I think neutral-wise they're doing okay. I think like maybe combo routing might be one thing, and then defensively really active. So let's bring them on, see what we thought. Hey, buddy, what do you think?
I thought that was really interesting how you trapped me in that corner, and
Okay.
I was like really. So when I was thinking back on those 2 replays that I sent you, or those 2 sets that I sent you with those replays, I started thinking about. Hold on, let me deafen this music. I started thinking about how I use stand heavy kick a lot to just basically skip neutral. Like, it's such a far-reaching move. If it connects, like, it allows me to get in and combo. And I realized when I was in the corner, that move is because one, it's negative, right? Or I think it's negative, but it's just getting me blown up. So I switched to just basically trying to find either, I think it's forward heavy punch or my back medium kick, like just to. I was basically looking for other options, than my standing heavy kick, and I think that was helpful because. As you can see, like I have an over reliance on using dry reversal, especially when I don't really have like an ODDP,
Right.
So I'm like, oh, let me just go for that. And bad habit, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just gonna take the guess here because I hate. I'm really bad at delay teching,
Hmm.
so I'm I have trouble looking for that. So like when I get cornered, there's like all sorts of like panic mental stack happening where I'm like, all right, let me look for a button to press as opposed to probably other options I should be considering.
Right, right. It's kind of like, oh, the pressure is building, so I need to do something to get out of the
Right.
situation I'm in. Right, gotcha.
I paid
Yeah,
$60 to press buttons.
exactly, exactly right. So I'm streaming in Discord, and you can take a look at that, and I'll bring up one of the
Yep.
replays that we played. We can go over it. I did notice that though.
Got it now.
So are a little bit active on defense, and I think you kind of are aware of that. So you do need to pay attention to the defensive options you're selecting. If you're getting beat a lot, or it's getting beat often, then you probably need to come up with a different solution to that. So let me bring up. I think it's going to be this one. Uh, let's see. I think this one's probably the right one. All right, so I'll fully admit that I'm not too familiar with Ingrid overall, so I don't know if I can offer you any sort of
Hmm.
character-specific things. Although what I did notice was that one of the things that you kind of don't do is there's a combo that she does that goes into like drive rush, crouching medium punch into like the spin thing.
Yeah.
What is that? I forget the name of the move, but like she does like the spin into the uppercut.
Sunrise. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can get a stock from that, right? So that's one of the things I think for Ingrid in particular is really strong is she needs multiple stocks to make like the beam
Hmm.
really good, and like her combo routing gets a lot better when she has two sun crests, right? Like she can do the big beam thing, and like her aerial beams get better, and there's more juggle potential or whatever. So
Right.
so that's something to consider for something to consider for routing overall, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, or sorry
Character
for the
specific
follow up.
wise.
Appreciate it. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying specific wise, I definitely try to just zone in order to get stocks
Mm-hmm.
where I know I should be looking for those opportunities of like, all right, I can convert off this and then get a stock.
Right,
Where I'm just playing the game like I'm gonna try to get a stock here and see what happens.
right, and it's like, and it can work, right? If like you're playing against someone like I don't know Manon or Gee for someone that doesn't have a strong drive rush or a fireball or something like that, you could probably get away with that. Like you back up and take your stock. But if it's like Ken or like someone with a good drive rush, as soon as they see you
Right.
stock, they will drive rush in with a heavy button, right, and tag you. And I think I did
Hmm.
that maybe once or twice, right? It was that I would do that. Because that is something I did notice, right? Was that you tended to back up a lot, give up a lot of space to try to get stock or space, and then try to zone with like your fireballs or whatever, right?
Hmm.
So if you do that, and it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but giving up space means that Ken can walk forward for free, or opponent can walk forward for free. And then if you run out of space, then how do you zone, right? If I'm in your face, right? So just be
Sure.
cognizant of how much you're backing up. But yeah, this is like minus, right? -2 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't press after it, but most people don't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I always like throw a jab out there to see what people do.
Yeah. And that
Because
makes
I
sense, right?
really
Like,
catch people.
makes sense because I think at -2, people potentially will try to take their turn back with like a bigger button. So like you counter hit
Correct.
me a couple
Yep.
times. So I tried to take my turn back with like a greedier button because I assumed you wouldn't press. And then you jabbed anyway and you happened to counter hit me, right? But yeah, pressing when you're minus, I think is totally fine. Like people do that all the time. If it's working, continue doing it. You just have to be careful if you start getting counter hit, then you got to pay attention. But
Right.
yeah, you can see like your tendency here for the most part is to back up, right? So had this, right, and then you kind of back up, right, and you back up
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
full screen. And I think the reason you do this is because you're trying to get a stock here, right? But you
Maybe.
can,
I,
yeah,
I think it's interesting just to even kind of consider that because I feel like let's say I'm playing like a rushdown character, right? Because that's potentially new main rushdown character. I feel like I would still do that and try to like look for what you're doing.
hmm hmm and I think it's a fair thing to try to do. I mean, like you're trying to understand what your opponent wants to do. But what I will say is that you can do that just as effectively from an ideal zoning range versus all the way back, right? So you don't have to back up this far to get an idea of what I'm pressing, right? Because they think about it. So here,
Yeah.
neither of
Like
us
a
are threatening.
backing up.
Yeah, this is super far, right? Neither of us threaten anything. And like the options that I would present from here would look very different than options that I would present from here, which is a little bit closer to like quote unquote footsie's range. Like right here is probably about
Yep.
where Ken's stand heavy kick is, like it's Ken's long switching normal. This is about where it would be very close to whiffing. It probably hit you because Ken moves forward, but this is about as far as it would be, right? So you don't need to go any further than this really to understand what I'm trying to do, right? Because from this spacing here, you take away fireballs, you take away drive rush, and you take away like highly committal moves from most characters, right? Like besides Ken can kind of dragon lash you here, but you can react to it, right? Or other characters like Terry Burn Knuckle or Crack Shoot or like other stuff that are neutral skips, they are slightly less effective from this range here, right? Versus like here, now Ken can fireball you, right? I can dragon lash if I walk forward, right? I can drive rush heavy punch behind. This is actually what I do. I throw a fireball
and drive rush, yeah.
and drive rush in, right? So like all of the work that you did to gain that space so that you can work through it has effectively been negated because I'm able to just drive rush in now, right? And because you can't really check this, it's difficult to check this, right? Because the fireball's here, right? You have to make a decision on if I'm going to press or not. I can shimmy you or whatever. And then all of a sudden that's there, right? So like giving up the space to that extent at higher levels can really be a detriment to you. And the worst part is that the information you're trying to get out of it is not there, right? So you gave up the space, you didn't really get anything back, right? All Ken had to do was do the fireball drive rush that everyone does, and it's like, you know, he's all of a sudden he's in now, right?
So right. Like even I can do that with the fireball drive rush.
Yeah, and I've seen Ingrid's do it with like dash too. So like you do a fireball dash, and like because of the fireball's timing and spacing, it's like a block string, or it's super good. So that's something you can do. Take a look at the frame data to make sure, but you could do like, I think it's like a light fireball. I forget which one it is, the one that just goes forward, and then you can dash behind it or drive rush behind it, and you know you'd be able to approach, right? So,
question, you said well, I guess two things. One, you said at that like footsie's range, right? I take away fireballs. Do I take away fireballs because I can punish on block, or
you take away fireballs because the risk of me throwing a fireball there is kind of high. So from that spacing, if Ken in particular, if he throws a fireball and you happen to press, you'll likely stuff the fireball because he extends the hurt box when he throws the fireball. Alternatively, it's at a spacing where if you jump and I throw a fireball, I'm going to get hit, right? I'm going to take a full punish for a jump in, basically. So if I try to throw a fireball from there, I can't DP you effectively. If you back up a little bit and I throw a fireball and you block one, I'll have enough, and the spacing is correct, I'll have enough time to throw another fireball, and if you try to jump that one, I'll be able to DP it, right? But from outside of the Ken stand heavy kick range, throwing a fireball is risky because if you jump, I'm going to take a full combo, right? Similar with any other button, like if I press, similar with like if I whiff a heavy button, right? But the difference there is that the heavy button startup is a lot faster, right? So again, the idea there is that it's risky for me to throw a fireball because if you can pick an option that will stuff the fireball for doing something you're already going to be doing, or if you decide to jump, then I'm going to need a full combo, right? And I won't be able to DP that, right? Because the recovery is so long. So that's really the main thing, right? If you back up a little bit, you're able to throw those fireballs, and because of the space, it'll allow me to dragon punch you, like DP you, if you jump after the fireball.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can I punish a fireball block? Is that possible?
For Ken's fireball, I believe so. Let me double check. If it's point blank,
yeah,
you should be able to. Let me make sure here. I still don't want to lie to you here. Certain fireballs probably, not all of them though. So like, I don't think you can punish Giles from point blank.
But, no. Yeah.
But like for Ken,
I think it's like Ken, Ryu, and Akuma, really.
Yeah, there's a couple of fireballs you can. Like if you hit point blank, like for Ken fireball, point blank. If you was to block it, it's like minus, like even his light fireball is -7. So if you block it point blank like that, you should be able to punish. Unless it's OD. OD fireball is safe on block. But otherwise, most fireballs, if you block them like point blank, it is minus enough for you to get a punish. Ken's in particular for sure. You have to take a look at other characters to see which ones are. But yeah. Generally speaking, if you block a point blank fireball, you could probably get a 4-frame, maybe in a 5-frame punish most of the time. But again, it's character specific.
Gotcha. You also mentioned Terry.
Mhm.
You mentioned Crack Shoot and Burn Knuckle being less effective at that range. Why are they less effective?
So you can react to it, right? First of all, Burn Knuckle is going to be unsafe on block, right? So Burn Knuckle, if they do that from like point blank or they're too close, they're actually unsafe, right? So let me just make sure the frame
Okay.
data here. But like Burn Knuckle in particular, right? If they were to go for it at that spacing, they'll be like minus. I think it's up to -6 or -8 or something, right? Oh wait, hold on. Burn Knuckle, yeah, it's pretty unsafe on block, right? Um, like if the
Okay.
screen doesn't shake, you can get a full punish from that, right? Most of the time.
Gotcha.
So
So when you say react to it, you just mean block.
for Burn Knuckle, right? On Crack Shoot,
Okay.
you should be able to react to that. So Crack Shoot is like you'll see it coming, and like the actual hitboxes don't come out till later in the move. So like he'll be flipping over you, and if you just jab or do anything, it'll hit him, right? If he's too close.
Got it.
So
Okay.
basically, what it means is that like the spacing that they're at when they throw these moves, because there's a lot more startup time to some of these special moves.
Hmm.
It basically allows you as the player defending it to either just block it out, like in the case of Burn Knuckle, you block it out and get a full punish because they're unsafe, or they do something that's reactable. So like if Ken were to do a Dragon Lash from right here, right? You could just simply react to to him moving and press a button, and you'll get a punish counter, right? A forced juggle state because he's airborne during that, right? Or you can even
Okay.
DI it if you're ready and you recognize that the Ken wants to do a
Right.
Dragon Lash. You can just DI that on reaction, right? So basically, the spacing allows certain moves to be slightly better, but if it's too close, then like the hitboxes don't come out in time, and like the opponent has options to punish it, right? Like imagine if you're playing a Terry that crack shoots from like further away, you can't just press a button to stop him, right? You actually have to deal with it. Or like a Burn Knuckle that is plus on block because they spaced it correctly and you didn't check it. Same thing, right? You have to deal with that. But if it's too close or it's misspaced, then the Terry or whoever else is punishable now, and that's just the design of the move, right? Like Burn Knuckle gives you extra, it gives you the plus frames if you space correctly. But if you don't space it correctly, you don't get the plus frames, and if you do it really poorly, you get punished, right? So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
that
appreciate that because like it's those like little things with the different characters. Like I know I shouldn't be focusing on like matchup knowledge, but I know that I should probably learn some of these little nuances as far as like when I'm plus or negative or when I can press because I think that's like something that just turns around.
Yeah, definitely. It's like it's one of those things where if you're allowing your opponent to get away with things like that and you're not properly punishing them for things, or not even maybe properly
Right.
punishing, but like allowing them to do that, like they press minus, they press the button, they're minus, they press again. It kind of those small advantages kind of add up over the course of the round, right? It's like, oh, they're getting away with
Yep.
stuff that you should be able to stop, right? Or they're doing things that you should be able to just not, that you should be able to stop.
Right.
Right?
Right. Right.
So
It's funny, like in the diamond ranks too, because like certain people that'll be like their game plan, like their entire game plan. Like just they have one or two routes that they always go for, and if I find if I shut one of them down, everything about what they're doing collapses.
yeah,
So
it's like it's
great.
a pretty common thing, right? Because oh, what do I do now that my one trick is not working, right?
Yeah.
So, so here I jump the fireball. So this is a good teleport here. So right here,
Oh damn! I probably could anti-air there.
before that though, here is an opportunity to stalk, right? So if you knock me down like that, I think you could stalk
Yep.
here, right? You don't have to
Mhm.
throw this fireball because you're already giving up Oki, right? Like you're not taking like for stock characters, generally speaking, the decision point comes where do I want to take a stock or do I want to take Oki, right? Do I want to continue my pressure or not? And if you're not going to continue pressure, generally speaking, you're going to take a stock, right? So I don't know all of the setups for Ingrid, but I'm pretty sure most hard knockdowns or knockdowns in general give you enough time to stock, right? Especially like a teleport like
Yeah.
that. So something to consider, right? Is that if you're not going to go for immediate driverish pressure after this, right, or whatever the follow up is, stock right here,
Yeah.
right, instead of throwing the
Okay.
fireball. Because
That's
like this
interesting.
fireball, as you know, it does take up space, but it doesn't really net you anything overall, right? Like I just jump it, right? So and you were
Right.
planning on stocking here anyway afterward, so you might as well take the
Yeah.
stock, be safe, and then you could anti-air this, right? Because like from here, if you stock, maybe I don't jump, fair enough. But you get the stock and then we're back to neutral again, right?
Okay. What's interesting is like I throw that fireball so I can get a stock. Like I feel like that's my safety net, but sometimes that gets me in trouble like this.
Yeah, and I jump the fireball, and now you're point blank here, and then you try to press a button, and I just press something that's quick enough that will reach, right? So
Mhm.
really what it comes down to here is that when you get a knockdown, the decision point of stock or Oki, right? For a stock character like Ingrid. Maybe Yasmin's going to be a little different. I think her stocks are part of the thing. But you want to stock first, basically, right? Because if you stock here, right, and you have that now, you can throw a fireball afterwards, right? I have to deal with that either way. But here, because the fireball's already out, right, I can make a decision and just jump. But if you stock and then fireball, the stock will be done. You throw a fireball, and the zoning is a little bit more. It's more or less the same effect, if you will, but you have a stock. Right now you're at 2 sun stocks, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, I got to see if I do have time to throw a fireball. I can definitely beam if nothing else, and which the stock allows me to get. So
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, and like if I try to do something from there, you can just beam on reaction, right? Like if I drive rush something
Right.
like that, you should be able to get the beam and then teleport or whatever that conversion is. So right, so here I think that was so I missed my DP here, or I missed my follow up here, and then I think you tried to throw me like or tech, and then I just happened to jab. So it is what it is. Right, and then active option, right? So something and again, maybe it's just you do tend to select this, and I adjusted to that. But you do need to
Yeah.
be, generally speaking, I think like the way I think about defense is that you want to pick conservative defensive options more often than riskier ones, if that makes sense, right? Like you want to block more often than you reversal, typically. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason you do that is because the risk factor of going for an active option is really high compared to the reward. So like if you derev here and this works, I get knocked back. There's no damage, it's just gray damage or whatever, but my pressure ends, right? But if you're wrong here, I get a full combo. Well, I ideally get a full combo. I miss it here, but I would get a full combo from this, right? So like the
Right.
risk is kind of high. And even in this situation here, where I don't get the punish, you're still in the same situation and spent 2 bars to be there, right? So
Right.
like,
Yep.
it's not always good. Now, if I had gone for a meaty like I was going the first 2 games, perfectly acceptable, I think, right? That totally makes sense. But otherwise, like you do want to select block with the higher frequency, right? Not, it doesn't always have to be block, but like you want to pick less risky options more often, if that makes sense, right? Now, again, if it's a longer set and you got to read on an opponent and they're going to go for something, totally fine. Rip the reversal or the derev or whatever. But if you run into your average ranked person, you do want to try to minimize risk, right? So,
Right. Especially because it's first 2.
yeah, generally first 2, right? Even bracket and stuff, right? You don't want to lose because you really bet big and was wrong, right? In a situation where you didn't necessarily need to do that.
So you haven't played this character, Ingrid, right?
I haven't played her. I haven't really played against her. I've made maybe 2 games against her.
Oh, really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you haven't been playing ranked.
No, and
where
Ingrid's
where you
everywhere right
find her.
now. But
Yeah.
I did like do the combo trials. I did mess around with her when she came out because that's what you do, right? Like it comes out at midnight or whatever time it was my time, and I kind of did the combo trials and pressed some buttons with her, see how the stock mechanic works and all that. But I haven't really played against her. So like what I was doing in my mind was I was trying to understand what buttons you the player IO were pressing, and then get around that, right? Because I'm not sure what the tool set really looks like, other than that sent heavy kick being really one of her better buttons, right? So,
Yep. Yeah, right there. I was just gonna say, like, you should play her because she just makes me giggle and laugh all day long because she's just such a silly character.
she's
But
fun to watch. I've seen some footage, right? And she looks interesting in that way. I just haven't. I need to get into the game more to do that. So here's another interesting one though, right here. Look at this. Right. So after your minus, and this is one of the, I think, fundamental things that you were kind of alluding to talking about, is that you press this, right? You are -2 on block.
Yep.
Right. So you can see I immediately take my turn back with a crouching medium kick here, right? Like you can see me pressing it, and you can see in the frame meter that the button's coming out, right? And the reason I did this is because you've been pressing buttons after this the last couple of times, right? And look what you press after this, right? You press crouching medium kick here, right? When you're minus. So,
which is crazy. I don't ever do that, but
well, you had pressed it a couple of times, and in a situation or two before you had pressed when you're minus, right? So I just kind of made an assumption that you would do it again.
Well,
and it is
typically I go for like jab or something light, you know,
you need something faster. Yeah. So something faster, generally speaking. If you're going to do this, right, the quote unquote correct, I don't want to say correct, but like the more the I don't want to say the fundamental quote unquote thing to do is when you are -2, you don't press, right? Because anything I press will counter hit you, generally speaking. But here, that's where the mind game comes in a little bit, right? So like if you are minus and I take my turn back with a big button, like let's say I press stand heavy punch or something like that after that, then you could potentially get away with pressing a faster button that would stop that, right? Similarly, if I take my turn back with a jab, then you can't press a button because it'll counter hit you, right? So like the decision on how greedy I want to be to take my turn back impacts if you can press or not, right? So fundamentally speaking, though, generally speaking, when you're minus, you don't want to press. You do want to wait to see what your opponent does. If they respect the minus frame, or if they do nothing on their plus frames, if they take a turn back aggressively, take a turn back with a jab, or fundamentally like a 5 frame, like anything that would be able to beat your 4 frame button, you should take note of what they're doing for that, right? And that'll inform your next decision, right? Maybe you'll be able to press the stand heavy kick, and you can notice that I'm always taking my turn back with a big button. Then you can try to abare and jab me out of that big button, right? Because I'm being a little greedy. So, but again, generally speaking, you generally don't want to press when you're minus, right? Because this will happen. You get
right.
So here, what did you do? I think you tried to jab me.
I went for a sweep.
Yeah. So you went for a sweep here. That got stuffed. Right? Because I just press my button here. And it stuffs you because it's too close, right? So spacing should generally dictate what buttons you want to press, right? So like the closer you are, the buttons you press should be faster. Well, let me phrase it the other way. When you're further away, you generally press your longer range buttons because that's the only thing they'll reach, right? Like your heavy punches and heavy kicks and all that stuff. When you're further away, they generally have longer range, right? So that's why you press them. The downside is that they're slower, right? So they take longer to come out and all that. And on the other side, light buttons are faster, right? But they have shorter range. So like you can't press a light from full screen. It's not going to do anything, right? But the trade-off is that they're faster. So when we're at this spacing here, the range advantage doesn't matter anymore, right? Like a light, a medium, a heavy, all three will hit, right? Or it'll land on hit, on block, whatever, but they'll land. They're not going to whiff. So typically what this means, again, typically, is that the closer you are, the faster the buttons you can press. Meaning like you can press shorter range, faster buttons, and it's probably generally better than trying to press a slow button. Right? You go for a sweep here at a spacing where it's too close, basically, right? And I go for a crouching medium punch at a spacing where maybe it's still a little too close, but I figured it was fast enough to get there, right? And that's what gets you. So you can see that I actually press after you, right? So here's your button coming out. I press later, and I stuff it, right? So, and then you try to press again, right? In this case, after on hit, you're actually minus, so you try to press. You can see it. You're mashing it here. Or I'm going to say mash, but it means you came out right away. And I'm able to tag you again with another crouching medium punch, right? Because I'm plus after hitting you, right? So it is something you have to be a little bit careful about. Generally speaking, on hit, you're minus, generally speaking. There are situations where I think you are plus on hit, but like it's kind of a weird situation, right? But you did just get hit, so it's really tough to try to continue pressing here, right? So because you're minus. Right. And then here you get tagged trying to jump, it looks like. Right? Try to jump, get tagged.
Yep.
And this is fair enough. Like if you thought I was going to go walk up throw or do something else, like jumping probably makes sense here. But instead, what I actually thought you were going to do was back up. And that's why I sent this. I thought you were going to walk back. It works out because I land this during your pre-jump frames. So, you know, I'm able to tag you here. But even if I had whiffed this, right? Oh, I'm already, it's already coming out. if you had come down with a button, which I think your intention was, I might have been able to DP it, right? Even if I do the whole, like, even if I do my driver's cancel buffer, right? Right. Again, assuming you come down with the button, I would probably be able to DP it, right?
Got it.
So,
Okay.
basically, what I'm getting at there is that in that situation right here, after you got hit here, I send this because I assume you're backing up, right?
Yep.
Again, it worked out because you jumped. But I think it's generally better to just down back and block after this and wait, right? Because you're in crouching medium kick range, basically. So if you move at all, you're gonna get tagged, right? And that's what happened here. You went for a jump, and I happened to tag you. So like, what I'm getting at here is that after on hits, it's generally better to just block, right, and just wait a little bit, be a little bit more passive on defense. Basically, you don't always have to be pressing. And again, if I'm being super greedy about stuff, you definitely can. But you do have to kind of suss that out first, right? You can't just like assume that, because that's how people get hit all the time. Because most people will enforce their plus frames, or at least leave the gaps that can't, like, you can't jab out of them generally. So you have to be careful about your
I wouldn't even reached. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you just blocked here, right, that's a driver's cancel, and you can deal with the mix up, right? Now again, you have to deal with the mix up, but at least you're dealing with mix up instead of just dying here, right? So again, like, if I were to look at this whole round, the main thing here, the main ways I was getting you was because you were being active on defense or in defensive situations, right? So when you're minus, when you just got hit, or like you're on knockdown or whatever, you picked an active option, and I adjusted to just not get hit by that active option or bait it, right? So just block or go for a meaty, right? So that's how I was able to get you for the most part. So
Gotcha. I gotta invoke my inner ham jam.
yeah, like ham jam is like, I know it's been a while since I played them, but and if for everyone watching, if you played them, like, he's the epitome of like of rock.
Solid defense. Yeah.
Right. Solid defense. If you make a mistake or you're over aggressive or overextend, he'll punish you for it, right? So that's kind of, you don't need to go that extreme unless you want to. But basically, in those situations where it's like, oh, do I want to press or not? Like on, I just got hit. You can generally just not press. Right? You don't have to.
Right.
You can just wait a little bit, because again, what's the alternative, right? Like, I crouch you medium kick, drive rush, and you just have the mix up to deal with. Right, and that's it. You could derev it, you could DPOS it if you had one. Not that Ingrid has one, but you can deal with the mix-up, right? Or even just take the throw. Like, who cares? I spent a lot of meter for 1200 damage. But the alternative is you get hit and you're in the corner, right? Like, if that's mid-screen, middle of the round, you're in the corner, and then end of the game, you get killed for it, right? So
yeah, it's interesting that you said, like, who cares? You just took 1200 damage, but I think, at my level, like, every time you get hit, it feels like catastrophe. It's like, like, oh my god, there's all my health, but it's really not. It's just a little bit.
Just a little bit, right? Like 12%, not the end of the world, right? If you're gonna die from it, that's totally different, right? Like, if it's like guess for game, that's different. But if you're talking about like mid-screen, mid round or whatever, like, taking the throw for the most part that's why people say take the throws, because the alternative is you die, right? Oh, I take 1200 damage, or I take 6000 damage potentially, right? So so here, right, so this was good, right? And probably more in line with what you're talking about, where you can fireball and stock, because I tried to deal with this, right? And I couldn't, right? I was trying to get around, and you got to stock now, right? So that's what happens, is that I managed to block your beam, and then I drive rush in, and you happen to be stalking after it, and I tag you, right? And then I missed my combo, but you weren't blocking for some reason. It just hits you. I think you tried to delay tech. But at any rate, here, if it's not a knockdown, you generally don't want to stalk. Like, that's for any character, really, right? Like, for the most part. So yeah, see, and that's what would normally happen. So a meterless conversion for me right there on your derev, you lost 2 bars, and I dealt 2700 damage, right? And that's without any meter. Like, I could have extended that if I wanted to, I didn't. But yeah, it's a lot of damage, right? So you did it again, and I respect that, actually, because I didn't think you were going to do it a second time. But you went for it, and now you know, I get knocked back, and now we can play neutral again, right? So here, that worked out.
I shouldn't have gone for throw there. I have that's a bad habit.
Right here,
Catching the light, but then
Yeah,
going for throw. Yeah, because I just expect people to block.
Yeah, you gotta believe.
Yep.
Or you know, you just have to train yourself to react to the hit or the throw, right? Whatever, or hit or the block, whatever that is. Especially on a jump in,
Yeah.
you have a lot more time than you think because you still have to land, right? So like the minus frame or the freeze frames, and then like the minus frames after and all that. Well, you have time to react.
Yeah, that's the real answer. I just need to pay more attention to what kind of hit I'm getting.
Yeah, and you saw the badge too, right? Like the badge shows up here. Right, you can see that.
Yeah.
So the cross up shows up too, right? So, you know, things you can react to. And then here's another one, right? So you do this, you're minus, and you go for crouching kick driver again, right? And I, at this point, had realized that that's what you wanted to do after the stand heavy kick, so I just sent another crouching medium kick, right? In this case, I did a buffer instead of a drive rush, but I sent it, right? So again, it's just really trying not to press when you're minus, or you just have to wait for me to do something, right? So, or you can tighten that up, right? Use a jab or something. Because if you do this, right? Oh, is there? Should be this, I think. Right? I think it's
Yep.
counted. Right? So like if you are, and some of that's space dependent, but if you are trying to catch my bigger button like that, you could do like a jab and then go into a counter hit confirm, right? Basically, and whatever that looks like for Ingrid.
Wait. Was that crouching light punch into stand medium punch? Is that what you just did?
I think so. Let me move this back up a little bit.
Because her buttons are so stubby that I'm like, wait, that connected? That reached?
It might reach in this case because Ken is pressing something, so he's extending her
Okay.
clicks.
Okay.
So let's see. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that, right? So
What'd you do? That was crouch light into crouch medium?
yeah, crouch light, crouch medium.
Okay.
And then it would be something, I think it's something like...
Can you do crouch light into stand medium?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see.
Yeah, because that's what I think I just saw you do. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then her target combo after that is medium kick. Okay.
Yeah, and then you can go into the spin, I think. I don't actually know her routing. I do know that route, the crouching medium punch drive rush, that one you can get into like crouching medium punch spin, right? And then the uppercut thing at the end. So like...
Well, actually, I don't know if I can get the spin. Maybe I can.
I think off the drive rush, the crouching medium punch can. I think I've seen it anyway.
Yeah.
You have to look it up. Yeah. But basically, there's a route there, right? Counter confirm jab into crouching medium punch or stand medium punch target combo, or crouching medium punch like drive rush into the thing, to the spin. That one's really good because you get a stock after, right? I don't know the inputs for it, but like you could get a stock after potentially, or you just go to target combo into the finisher. You get a stock after that too because it's a knockdown, right? So, if you notice me doing that, right, and this is a situation where I'm being like, your opponent's being greedy and taking the turn back with a bigger button. If you notice me doing that, you can start doing this to stop me, to prevent me from doing that, right? Because it's a huge reward for you, right? You get the stock, you get the knockdown, you get some screen positioning, all that's good stuff. Like that's a real thing, right? But you can only do that if your opponent is being greedy on taking the turn back. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I'm noticing you doing that, right? Like I'm seeing you try to press when you're minus, and it's too big a gap, and I can just punish you with something else, right? So
makes sense.
But that is the thing, right? So that's part of the quote unquote fundamental aspect, is that the only reason I can do the things I'm doing is because you're doing something that I can try to counter, right? And then ultimately you want to try to prevent that from happening by adjusting to what I'm doing. So if I'm always taking my turn back with a crouching medium kick in a +2 situation, which is a 7-frame move, you can do a 4-framer and potentially counter hit the startup of my longer move, right? Because I'm not plus enough to make that safe to like a jab, if that makes sense, right? That's the guess though. That's like where the mind game comes in. So anyway. Right.
Yeah, it's really interesting because some of these things, like these bad, like seeing me press crouching medium kick twice after doing stand heavy kick is like, oh my god, what am I doing? Like that's
Yeah, right.
like that's like just too much. But I realize that in a lot of my ranked games, I get away with stuff like that, and I just go into autopilot.
Yeah, and it's easy, right? Because and I say this a lot is because for a lot of people, the reason they do things is because it works, right? Like so,
Right.
like you look at the discords like Twitter and all that stuff. People are like, oh, what is this guy doing, or why does it make sense, or whatever. And the reality of it, most of the time, the reason they're doing it is because it's working, right? Like people
Yeah.
are pressing longer range buttons, or they're not pressing at all, or letting you get away with this stuff, and you can just keep doing it, right? Because it's working. So if your opponent starts to adapt to that, that's when you have to do something else. But until then, who cares? Right? Keep doing it. So another active option here gets a hit, right? So again, like if you look at the round as a whole, the situations that I think you can really improve on are like trying to be less active on defense, so less D-Rebs, more blocking, and pressing less when you're minus. So like respecting your own -2 situation and just waiting to see what I do, right? And then from there you can adjust. So like you saw me taking my turn back with a crouch medium kick, you press your jab, right? Makes total sense. And then from there we both adjust again, right? Oh, they are jabbing and they're -2. Now I'm going to use my jab. Okay, now that I'm taking my turn back aggressively, maybe try to space trap me, maybe try to do something else, right? So that's how it goes. But fundamentally, it boils down to do the correct, quote unquote, correct thing first, and then you can adjust to do something else, right? Like whatever else you can do. But if you go for the risky option right away, the main issue with that is that it loses to the common option that I would do. That's really like I think the problem with that. Because of course you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, right? The game doesn't stop you from pressing your minus. But if I do the common option that I should do defensively when I'm +2 after blocking something, and you pick an option that will lose to that, like that's how you're gonna get hit a lot, right? So,
Right.
cool. All right, so let's take a look at one of the replays you sent. Get this one of these guys. Let's see. Grab this one. Why not? Oh, this is one you won.
Yeah, I think the first two are against the Ken.
All right, let's take a look at this one. Yeah, this is good. Thanks for follow, folks. By the way, I appreciate you guys. All right.
This is definitely options that are happening here where I'm just looking for a place to press, which again kind of goes against what you were just recommending to me, right? Like I'm looking for something place to press as opposed to just being a little bit more patient.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that either, right? Looking for a place to press. But sometimes you have to accept that the answer is there isn't one, right? Like there's nothing wrong with looking for an opening or a sequence a gap in the sequence. But if the answer is there isn't one, then you have to be okay with that, really. Right? So here, this one is different, right? So you did a driver stand heavy kick. Now you're plus, right? So now you can do whatever you want, right? You want to press, you press. They can't do anything about that. But you get beat by a jab here, right? And what happened? Why did that jab hit you? So you're plus, and they mash jab.
Throw.
You went for throw, but it was late, right? So it's 2 frames late. So if you went for a throw here, like immediately, it's too close. You see how that counter hits?
Yeah.
So your execution, like the idea was correct, but the execution was off, right? So if it's frame tight, a +2 situation your throw should always beat a jab, right? It's really just an execution thing, really. Like maybe there's some lag, maybe you didn't quite know where the animation ended because it's kind of like there's like flashing things from the parry and stuff. But a lot of times you can press a little bit sooner than you think, and it will come out because of the frame buffer in the game, right? So or input buffer in the game. So really, the situation here, you were correct to go for a throw. You could even went for a jab too, because he tried to challenge you in a +2 situation. But if this was game 1, I would definitely take note of I'm getting hit in a plus situation and be like, okay, this guy wants to jab or wants to mash, so I'm going to keep an eye on that, and next time the situation comes up, I'm going to try to keep it frame tight and see what happens. So he jabs you here, goes to a Jinrai, misses the drive rush. Okay. Goes for a step kick, you block, fine. And how did you get hit here, right? You were plus. So what happened, right? So here, you block this, you're plus, right?
Yep.
Now Ken immediately presses crouching medium kick, right? You can see right here.
Yeah.
Right. But the issue is that you press your button late.
Right,
For a
right.
sweep, right? So even if you had gone for a sweep here, and I think this will actually work if you did this, but right. So this one again is more of a timely press thing, right? So that is something that I think people don't always recognize in game, but you only see it if you go into replay review. That you are missing the timing that you should be pressing at, right? So like
Gotcha.
you're pressing a little bit sooner than you think. Again, input buffer is 5 frame or 4 frames plus 1 perfect frame, if you will. So that 5 frames to press your button from like block stun or like a non-active situation. So like you're blocking something you can press. And I think that's what happened here. So both of these situations were situations you should have won. The issue is that you pressed late, right? The throw was a little late, so we got beat by a jab. The sweep was a little bit late, and it got beat by the crouching medium kick, right? So, again, I think the decision making is correct. It's just the execution thing, right?
Yeah,
That's just
that's interesting. I've never even thought that was the thing. Like, oh, that would have worked if I only pressed it earlier.
Yeah, and it happens all this. Like, since I've started doing these, I've noticed it more and more, and I talk about it a lot, is because people aren't pressing timely. So they're wondering like, oh, why am I getting counter hit when I'm plus, or why is this always happening to me? And it's because you're not pressing in a timely manner, right? Like if it's not like the +2 situation, if you let it go back to neutral, it's not advantaged anymore. So like there's no mix up anymore because you're not advantaged anymore. So you have to be on top of keeping your things frame tight, like your sequences airtight or frame tight. Otherwise, people can get away with stuff that they shouldn't, right? Like this crouching medium kick should have been punished by your sweep, but it wasn't because it was a little bit late, right? Like you were 6-ish frames late, right? So you could have pressed after this, right? From right here, you start pressing. So what I tell people is like, there's kind of 2 ways to do it. One is you get used to the animations and you press when you see the animation be done and you just go for it. The other option is just mash it, right? So like, let's say that you see this coming, you block this right here. You're like, I'm going to sweep this guy because I'm plus, right? Look how much time you have to press. Almost like 20 something, 30, 25 frames, a half a second, right? That's a lot of time to react to something in this game. So you could just mash it, right? And be like, all right, I'm just going to mash my crouching medium kick or whatever and buffer behind it or go mash a sweep or whatever, right? That way you ensure that it is frame tight, right? I see that a lot. I recommend that a lot for people who are going for like a throw. So like this situation here. Mash the throw, right? If you've decided you're already going to throw from this situation, just start mashing it, right? That way you know it'll come out, right? And the reason you do this is because you've already made the decision to throw from here, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to drive rush in, stand heavy kick. If it hits, I'm going to go into something. If it's blocked or whatever, I'm going to throw them. Like you've already probably made the decision I'm going to throw from right here. So just mash it, right? Like you already made the choice. Why not? Yeah. This was a good challenge right here. And it worked because the Ken was late. Right. So
interesting. So now it's like the reverse.
Yeah. The main difference though here is that he's +3. So actually what should have happened here is that if the Ken did this, it should have traded. Right? If they're frame tight. Because he's +3, right? For the frame data. And you did a 4 frame data.
Gotcha.
So like it's a little bit greedy on his part to do that, but it is what it is. But you could challenging on minus frames again. This can work if your opponent is being greedy, right? Or they make a execution error, right? So in this case, they had an execution error. You jab out of it, and then the Ken's gonna go on Twitter and be like, "Why does Ingrid have this 4-frame move that beats my Jinrai or whatever?" Right? And it turns out it's because they were a frame late, right? And I think this happens to a lot of players a lot of the time. It's like, why does the situation that the pros take a look at or this video I watched, why does that situation not work for me? And a lot of time it's because they're off by a few frames, right? So again, right here, they go for the crouching medium kick after they block the stand heavy kick, right? That was a good challenge here. It worked out. Now, if they went for the low, you get frame trapped. And this is a... the way you did it here was kind of a 50-50, right? You made a guess on if they're going to go for an overhead or not overhead, right? Or sorry, overhead or low, right? If they do, or sorry, overhead or nothing or the low, right? So like if you mash jab after the first Jinrai, the only frame trap Ken has is if he goes into the low. So if he goes into the low from here, he'll frame trap you, knock you down. But if he does the overhead or nothing and you mash jab, you'll get a punish counter, right? So that's what happened here. There are options you can do, and I have a whole video on that if you want to look at that later, on what you can do in a situation like that. Like there's options you have to defend against everything or defend against more things. But if you want to take a guess, right, and being like, all right, I'm going to roll the dice here, this is pretty good, right? Because realistically speaking, the jab beats 2 out of the 3 follow-ups, right? Technically, the 4th follow-up is the overhead, or not overhead, but like the heavy follow-up, which Kens don't really do unless they confirm a hit because it whiffs on crouching. So in neutral, like doing this is not a bad option, but it does lose to like the default option, right? And that's kind of a theme, right? Is that like it's never a bad thing to try these things. It's just that if you try something and it loses to the most common option, you're taking kind of a risk, right? In this case, it worked out. But you do need to have a better confirm from here. Right, crouching medium punch into drive rush, essentially. Right, so
I think I can actually go into that spin, like sunrise move. Like, yeah, that.
Yeah. You could do like
off the crouching.
Off the crouching, yeah. I think if you may need more plus frames, but yeah, that would be ideal. Or drive rush, right? You have meter. Worked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, active option here. It's okay. I think a more better option, if you will, like from here, you see you can react to the Dragon Lash coming, right? Here, can go, how's this, right? And then you can just do this, right? Well, maybe that won't work because it's meaty, right? You could do it though, like it'll knock him back, and if he decides to press after that, you'd get him because he's burned out, right? But you know, it was the Dragon Lash is coming basically, but it was meaty, so I guess it's okay that you did what you did. I think just blocking is totally fine here. Or D-Rev is okay too. It's not the worst thing in the world. D-Rev is actually a little bit better when your opponent is burned out because it's safe now, right? So I don't mind using that more when your opponent's burned out. It's not a bad thing. That's unfortunate. 2+.
Yep, 2+. That happens to me a lot. And again, like I'm just thinking they're gonna block the jump and I'm going to throw. That's just autopiloting.
Yeah, and this actually would have worked, right? But you are a little bit early, right? So yeah, it is what it is. There's
that only happens on burnout, right? You can't do that off drive rush.
It depends. So SF6 has, I think it's 2 frames of throw protection. I forget exactly, but you can see how your active frames here overlap with 2 frames after recovery here. So when you're in block stun, there's a amount of time where you can't be thrown. I think it's 2 frames. Right. So I have to double check what it actually is. We can see it here. It's 2 frames, obviously here, right? And it's really just so that you can't combo into a throw, right? So like if I do a button and I try to throw you, it'll whiff, right? Because they're 2. If I'm 2+, was essentially like out of a block stun, basically is what that's for. In burnout, it's a little bit more prevalent because of the extra block stun from burnout. So like this would work if your opponent, well, this would have likely worked if your opponent was not burned out. They would have had 4 less frames of block stun and you would be able to throw them basically. But because of the burnout, it's what causes that, right? And that can happen or be exacerbated, if you will, by drive rush, like you say, right? So if you drive rush in, since you have 4 extra frames, right? 4+ frames basically, that can happen too, right? So if you're 2+, you won't be able to throw them on block. So you just have to watch out for it when you're in burnout. And it's a general thing when you have your opponent in burnout and you want to go for like a button into throw, delay your throw just a little bit, right? A little bit longer than you expect it to because of the plus frames, right? So now this is super good, right? Like +2. What are you gonna do?
Right? Yeah, like this, or when someone's in burnout, like that's something that I just do often because I feel like they're gonna press at some point. Yeah.
Your plus, and they got counter hit a bunch from that, right? So again, right? So here, this is like the third or fourth time. Crouching
Yep.
kick, right? So,
But you can even see, like, even just watching this back now, I'm like, man, stand heavy kick over and over again. I was just trying to skip neutral. You know, I think that's one thing we talked about. It's like I didn't resort to any other
buttons.
game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just dropping execution there. Yeah, there. I think on the Jinrai, I'll definitely need to watch that video of yours you're saying, because like, I think on the Jinrai, like I'm not sure where to press, but it sounds like only if they go for the overhead, I'm allowed to press.
Yeah, you can do like delay options. You can go for DIs. There's options you have to deal with it. You just have to make sure that you are identifying what the Ken is doing and then just applying it, right? A couple option selects you can do, and some other things you can do to discourage it. Because the main thing with Jinrai is that you want to discourage the Ken from autopiloting it, right? So if Ken gets to just do this over and over again, like that's a problem, right? So you want him to do something else. Because again, it's a mix-up tool, right? So he gets to do certain things because you blocked it, and you have to deal with it. But you can play the rock paper scissors game effectively, right? You can know what options you actually have to use against it, right? Ooh. Oh, okay. So the light is definitely punishable, right? So if he does this, that's a -11, right? So that's a full punish. Oh, you tried to press her with it. Okay. This one you're late. So if you're trying to do a delay option here. So if you did a delay jab, I can see why this might hit you. If you're trying to mash jab, you're a little late. So that's why you get hit here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, that should be it, right? Yeah. So really, like the thing that I would take away from your games here really is just make sure that you are enforcing. I don't want to say this. Making sure that you are not pressing when you're minus, right? So when you get hit or when you're minus, pressing there, or even when you do something on block, and you're -2, not press, or that'll be the first thing. Is really just don't press when you're minus, right? Do that. Do
Wise
that
words.
first.
I concur.
Right.
Yeah.
The other stuff when it comes to like, oh, how do I deal with an opponent that is taking the turn back? You can figure that out after, right? Like, oh, what do I do if my opponent's using a big button, small button, medium button, whatever, right? How can I deal with that? That's the part you'll have to figure out. But the first thing is you have to get to that situation initially and recognize that's happening, and blocking allows you to do that. So like you do this in heavy kick, and then you notice the Ken always does a crouching medium kick after. Okay, now I can jab them because they're using a medium button when they're +2, and my 4-framer will be able to reach it. And most mediums in the game, and certainly all the heavies, have a longer startup than 6 frames. Most of them, right? There's some that are 6 frames, like Ken's crouching medium punch or whatever. But generally, even in that situation, if they press a medium that's 6 frames or longer, you would trade, and then that's whatever, right? But if you notice they're using a big button, that's when you can start pressing when you're minus, right? So that's just it's sort of the adjustment period that you'd have to make when you're playing the game. But start by not pressing when you're minus. Do that first.
Yeah.
And then you can decide from there, right? It's like, oh, he always wants to sweep after. All right, now I can punish him. Right? Or he always just waits. Okay, now I can do something else, right? So, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take down this post-it note that says you're only minus if you're a bitch. So, yeah.
Well, that applies if you're going to reversal. So, like, that's a little bit different, right? Like, I want you to be minus and get you to press, and then I'm going to reversal in your face, right? Or do something that is that. But it's the same idea, though, right? Is that you are intentionally pressing, knowing that your opponent's going to do something. So, like, if you're only minus if you're a bitch, makes a lot of sense. But you have to realize that your opponent is pressing first, right? So it's like, oh, my opponent wants to get a turn back. All right, I'm going to be brave, make a read that they can do it again.
I'm going to take
and then do it, right? And that's where that comes in. So, and you see that a lot, actually, especially I think in diamond ranks, like people aren't respecting minus frames, so they just reversal in your face, right? Like, oh, I'm going to do this minus button into super. Like a Ryu will whiff a stand heavy or a sweep And then when you walk in, they're reversing you in
Yeah.
the face, right? Like, oh, level 3 right after that, right? And you're pressing,
Right.
trying to take a turn back or whatever, you get hit, right? So,
Yep. Yep.
but if you had, observed and waited a second, or not a second, but waited a little bit and try to get a sense of what your opponent wants to do, then you block the reversal or block the level 3 and you're good, right? So, but yeah, that's what I think that's what I would say, really. First thing is like try not to be active on defense, right? Try not to derev so much, block more often. Get a sense of what I'm trying to do before you take active options. And then try not to press your minus, right? If you do those two things, I think you'll find that winning games becomes a little bit easier, right? Because you're not taking as much damage in those situations. And then neutral wise, I'm not really sure what buttons Ingrid can really do, to be honest. I mean, I'm gonna hop into this custom room real quick and see. But like, if I were to take Ingrid here,
Yeah. Her buttons are really stubby.
okay,
In general, I should be crouch medium kick or possibly stand medium kick. She does have like this back medium kick that turns into a target combo knockdown. That's pretty good. If you have two stocks, I think you go for the forward heavy kick. Oh, you got modern mode on too.
yeah, apparently that's how you know I haven't been playing Ingrid, huh? It's
Yeah.
like, all right, and then we want to. All right, so there's that. So this seems okay. It's not too bad, right? This is the driver's cancel button, right?
Yeah, she has a lot of drivers cancelable buttons. Cancelable.
Cancelable.
Yeah, God, I couldn't say it. Cancelable.
That's this one, right?
Like back medium kick is a good button just to play footsies with.
This one.
Yeah, because then after that it can connect with heavy punch for a target combo.
Yeah, and you get a cancel from it, right? So yeah, I don't actually know all the buttons, but what I will say is that you can go into a lab, and this is something you probably want to try to do at some point, is just take your buttons and try not to whiff them, right? So like, probably poking with this.
Okay,
This one
just
probably.
finding their range.
Yeah, finding the ranges, right? Because if you think about this button, let's take this button, right? So this is something you use a lot. So let's take a look at this, right? So unblock. All right. So clearly from here, it'll reach, right?
Yep.
In fact, if you hit with like, it looked like it was slightly less minus if you hit it with like the tip or whatever. But if you look at this, right? Now Ingrid is safe on block, right? No matter what, even though I'm here, it's the 2 hits, even the 2 hits safe on block, right? But imagine if you're here, right, at this spacing, right? Now, because of the spacing you're at, right, if the Ken decides to take their turn back with like a button, like let's say they decide to do something like this, right? So if I'm gonna do that, right?
Interesting. Okay.
Right. So you see how like this is like it looks like a space trap to me anyway, right? So I do this.
Right. Got to be further. Yeah, it's got to be the 1 hit instead of 2 hits. Okay.
Yeah, or further enough, right? So it needs to be far enough where the jab will whiff, right?
Yeah. Got to kick him in the shin.
Right, and you can do that, right? So what I'm getting at here is that for Ingrid in particular, if you get good at spacing buttons, right? Right, things open up for you where if they try to take the turn back, you can just kind of throw out another button, space trap them for free, right? Like this is what I think you want to do, right? This is what you're trying to do. So if you're gonna want to do that, and more power to you if you want to, the idea would be to space this so that you can get the thing you want out of this, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, or whatever the conversion is from there, right? So like, using space to dictate that, I think is like the next step for you in particular. Now, if you're just using this button and you're like, I don't want to deal with neutral, I want to use this button a lot, then make it better, right? Like, you don't need to change your whole game plan. Just make it so that you can use this more often, right? Make it so that your opponent is
I like that a lot.
this, right? Now imagine in the game, right? You do this, and then they take the jab back and they get hit. They do it again and again. Either you kill them, or like, oh, I don't want to press anymore. So then you do this now. right? Like they're not pressing anymore, so you walk up and throw them. And then eventually they're like, oh, well, I don't want to get thrown anymore. So they do this. You walk up, they delay tech, and then you blow them up or whatever, right? So like,
Yeah.
So like that's what I mean, is that if you want to build your offense around 1 or 2 buttons, make them as good as you can make them, right? So like do this, if you can, and then whatever else the sequencing looks like from there, right? So
Okay. Yeah, I like the layers.
yeah, something to think about, right? Because like, if you've decided again, like, and I don't want to change anyone's playstyle, right? It's like, oh, I'm wanting to do this, right? Then do it, right? But make sure that you are giving yourself an opportunity to win from that option if you like it, right? Like even if I do this, right?
Yeah, you're plus there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm plus here, right? I think this might be too much. It's 6 frame, so it needs to be
Yep.
less probably.
I think stand medium kick. Yeah. Or sorry, stand medium punch. I meant.
Yeah. Let's see.
But also light jab in general. And jab into I think.
Oh, this is 6 frames.
Of course, forward medium kick will also work.
Yeah. So you're +2 here, so I think it needs to be a jab. Right, something like that, or whatever. Yep. Or even if it's counter hit, right? Right, you get the crouching medium punch from here, so that's pretty good too. So like, yeah, make that tool better, basically, is what I would say, if you can, right? Do that. But yeah, otherwise, I really do think that like the way you're playing the game is fine. Neutral wise, like space wise, like you could obviously, everyone can improve on this, right? But your sense of like where to stand probably just needs to be like, you don't need to stand too far, right? If you want to back up, like you want to back up outside of the opponent's biggest button generally, you don't need to be here to stock, right? Like you can stock from like, you can get a knockdown or whatever it is. I think it's this, right?
Yeah.
And then you can stock, right? Like on knockdowns. So, yeah. Again, I need to learn Ingrid so I can give you better advice. But like the general speaking advice is, for stock characters, you generally have to decide between Oki and stock. So if you get a knockdown, you can get a stock, or you can go for Oki. So you pick. And if you do this one, I think it's this one. Let me just see what the input is. I think it's this guy. It's Sunflare? No.
For what?
For the spin, it's this.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, but there's the medium kick version. Yeah, and then the heavy kick versions. They all do different things.
And then you can stock after this, right?
Oh, I think on the medium kick version, I'm sorry, the heavy kick version, I think you can stock after it.
Let's see. Oh, it's down. No, this, right?
Yeah, stock's quarter circle back light punch.
I think he has to hit, I guess. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So if you do that, like look at the advantage here, right? So if you go into this, right, you're +20, point blank, and you got a stock, right? So you can dash,
right,
or whatever the Oki situation is. Maybe it's something like this or whatever, and you can get Oki in both, right? So like that's why that seems really strong to me, is you do this.
Yeah, I'm just not sure what combos into the heavy kick version. A lot of the stuff gets blocked.
Yeah, that's not bad, huh? Yeah, you'll have to figure that out, I guess. You can't stock after this? It's only
the medium kick version? I don't think so. Yeah, I think it's only the heavy kick.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's an option that gives you that. But I'm sure it exists. But you can combo into it basically. Yeah, I'm sure.
I see people do it, so there's definitely something.
Has to be, right? But yeah, it may have to be after a drive rush or some very plus situation. But like that's a situation.
I think it's after beam into teleport, or maybe it's just after beam. So they already have stocks, right?
Yeah.
Because if you OD beam there, I think you can get it off again.
Yeah.
And then
you get the Anyway.
Yeah, I think the other option is with 2 stocks, you forward heavy punch and then do the OD beam. Like you beam right there,
Yeah, and then
and
you
then
can
I
do,
think
and
you
then you
have.
can
I
do
think you heavy
this.
kick. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's, I'm sure it exists. Is the point, right? You could probably
Right,
look it
right.
up. But yeah, that's what I would look into. Would be like, how do I make my existing neutral options that I'm using make that better? How do I make those things better for me? And then again, the other fundamental things like less active options on defense and less pressing when you're minus, right? At first. So you do those things, I think you'll be doing fine. And then in a few months when you switch to Yasmin, you can be on the show again, and we'll go from there. Because
Oh yeah.
I'll know how to play Yasmin because I'm definitely gonna pick her up, right? So I'll
Right.
be able to
Yeah.
give better advice.
She is so cool. I can't wait
Right?
for you to try. I definitely had the opportunity to play her at Evo, and she was a lot of fun.
Nice. I'm super excited for that. So yeah, with that said, do you have time to run it back? You want to run the first three? Got time, or you gonna have to call it there?
Yeah,
Okay,
I have time.
let's do it.
Oh, I was disconnected for inactivity.
Oi,
Custom room. View. Oh,
there you go. All right. So for this, what I would just focus on is try not to derev as much and try
okay.
to not press from your minus. So like after send heavy kick is blocked or other situations like you get hit, try not to press right away. Like give yourself a beat before you press again.
Okay. See, all her faces. I just giggle the entire time. Like
She
play
is
her.
a fun character, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So okay, they are should have gone for stock instead. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That's better, right?
Oops.
Cool. Nice. There you go.
Whoops. Whoops. Oh my goodness.
Not the sweep.
Not and I think I meant to do stand heavy kick there, but still, like both those were bad options.
Oh, I built it. That was really
Nice.
close. I wasn't sure. But I know you're getting hit more, or it's getting hit there, but that was actually a lot better defended, right? Because if you had gone for a derev in those situations where I backed off, you'd take a full punish, right? So
Right. Yeah, and I know part of it too is like I'm still assimilating everything, just trying to like think about it while we're playing, which is always tough.
Oh. Nice. Oh. Oh, clipped while moving a little bit.
Yep. I don't know why I feel the need, like I need to walk back.
Yeah, it's hard to not, right? It's something you have to ingrain to just block. Oh. Okay, there you have to make a decision, unfortunately. But I
Yep,
do
yep.
like the idea of blocking more often. I think you're integrating that pretty well. Right?
Yeah, definitely just not trying to drive reversal for sure. There's that trap.
Yep.
Oops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Wow, I don't know why I'm late there. Okay.
Ow.
Nice.
Oh, well, you have to represent it sometimes. I didn't get a full punish. Ow. Oh.
Man,
That's a shitty combo, right?
it does. I'm just dropping the combo.
Oh, there was a time it was a little too plus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice. So you see how many more interactions you get because you're not derevving every time? Like, all the ones that I back off,
Right.
like, you have a chance again, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, the one time you went for it is one time I backed off. But that said, like, so what, right?
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
I think,
I have
like,
to try to
yeah.
go for some point, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to represent it. Don't get me wrong. Like, you do have to represent it. But
Mhm.
I think it needs to be a surprise or, a situation where you think it's going to hit. And, you're gambling, and that's acceptable. Totally fine. So,
Or they presented pressing every single option or every single time, so.
yeah, so you made a read, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, but you see, like, every time I backed off, though, you're back into a disadvantage neutral, but it's still neutral, and now you have a chance again, right? As opposed to just losing 2 bars, taking damage, and a knockdown situation again, right? So cool, man. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, man. I know
Yeah,
we've been talking about it
this
for a
was fun.
while.
I'm glad that we
Yeah,
finally got to do this, so it's
yeah, yeah.
good.
So yeah. Any other questions or comments before we wrap up?
I mean, that's good. I appreciate it. This is really fun. I think
Yeah.
everybody should be a part of this. If people are just watching this and aren't signing up for this, that's just silly. You should sign up and try to get these sessions in with you because you articulate things in a fantastic way and you pick out certain things that it's easily actionable for me. So that's huge. And then at the same time, like I know that those are issues. So it's just kind of like representing or just I guess presenting itself more in my head where I'm like, okay, I really do need to work on those little elements.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think for most people that come on, kind of at the levels that I typically get, a lot of it really boils down to like 1 or 2 habits or tendencies that you have that are getting exploited, right? And a lot of
Right.
times there are things that they don't get exploited at the level they're at, but when you play someone that can see that, all of a sudden it's like, how come I can't do anything, right? And it's because you have a tendency that's getting kind of blown up, right? And it getting exposed in that way, you see it and we talk about it, I think it really helps people. Because I'm not in the business of changing anyone's playstyle. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to play a certain way after talking to me, which is why I talk to you. It's like, oh, well, you like this button, let's make it better, right? Like,
Right.
why should I make you do something else? Why don't you just make this button better? Why not, right? So trying to play to those strengths is generally a good thing. So, but cool, man. Yeah, thanks for coming
Cool.
on. Appreciate it as always.
I-
And shout out to
Absolutely. I
FightRise
appreciate
as
you taking the
always.
time.
Yeah. All right, man. Have a
Yeah,
good
for
one.
sure. All right, you too. See ya.
Well, thank you guys for watching. It's been Sit Down and Shut Up. Appreciate you guys coming on. Double Sack with Sphere. Appreciate you guys making chats and all that stuff. I thought about doing a hitbox mod. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought about adding it just for replay stuff because it makes things a little more like apparent. But I'm kind of lazy. I should do it though. I think it's gonna be a good option, a good thing to have on specifically for these like sessions because I think something that comes out a lot is like weird hitbox interactions or like the knowledge of extended hurt boxes, right? So like knowing that a fireball extends a hurt box, for example, right? Those types of things I think can be really apparent with a hitbox mod or hitbox viewer mod. So anyway, this has been on Shut Up for the second time today. Appreciate you guys coming in, hanging out, watching the sessions here. I run this through FightRise. So FightRise is a fighting game community focused on fighting game, focused Street Fighter 6. They do bi-weekly events through their One Fight Stand series, which are basically 7-round Swiss tournaments. They do rank separation for pools, so you have an upper pool, lower pool, and I think they have multiple pools, as a lot of people have been signing up. So no matter where you are in your Street Fighter career or journey, you can join in, sign up, get good matches, good times, and all that stuff. It's a good time. People join VC. It's bi-weekly on Tuesdays, I believe. They also do Urge to Fight, so community showcase events to Urge to Fight series. So Urge to Fight, basically people that have been in the community that have been leveling up and doing well. They get to be showcased on exhibition matches on stream. I do commentary for them every so often. We also do charity streams in December, so Christmas time, working with the Radiant Foundation, pretty big. I guess we're a pretty big sponsor with them. FightRise is anyway. I know they work pretty closely with the owner. I know IO knows them personally, I believe, at this point. So it's a good cause. They also do Big League KO. So Big League KO is basically a league format. You basically are put into a pool with 7 other players, 8-person pool, and you run a round robin. Every match is a first to 5. You run 2 matches a week for over the course of 4 weeks. And if you make it out of pools, there's a postseason bracket that you get to play in. It's a lot of fun. They stream the finals on a UTF event. We do commentary for them show often as well for that. So it's a lot of fun if you wanted to get into a league format where you're playing competitive matches, longer sets, first to 5s, right? It's not pretty often you see a lot of competitive, like tournament level play at first to 5 outside of like Red Bull, right? I think outside of the Kumites, right? Also part of Newbie Fight Club. So Newbie Fight Club is a fighting community focused on getting newer players into fighting games, mostly Street Fighter 6. They do lobby nights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They also do tournaments, so take a look at the events for that. I know the events scheduling has changed for NFC, so take a look at their events for that. If you're interested in a session like this for yourself, take a look at FightRise Discord. Under Level Up, there is a channel called Sit Down and Shut Up. The pin messages have instructions on how to join. You can see if you want to join the FightRise Discord and hop on and queue up. Appreciate you guys for watching. I know I don't always respond to chat while I'm doing training sessions, so I really do appreciate your follows, your likes, your chats, your messages, all that good stuff. So thanks again for watching, and have a good afternoon.